People were attributing this to Bring Me to Life, but I don't know. I feel like long before me, many people wanted some battle puppers, and they got their battle woofers finally in Monster Hunter Rise. I'm just the latest voice that came in with fresh eyes to the series and went, "Hey, why can't I get a little woofer?" Mm-hmm. And then they're like, "Yeah, we've been wondering that for a long time." But now on the new Switch game, there's going to be, not only will you have your dogger, but you can ride it, and you can have two.
What a great. So this is Monster Hunter Rise. This is the Monster Hunter World spin-off game, I guess I would call it, that's on the Switch, that is transplanting all the world goodness into a game made for the Switch. And it's like, what a good decision to take the part where you ride random crappy animals in battle and turn that into... But what if it was a cool dog, and then the dog also hung out with you?
It's the thing I wanted the most.
It also changes the way the balance of the game is, because so you'll have your dog and your cat, or two dogs or two cats. And in multiplayer, it was always like, well, if you had a team of 4, there'd be no dogs or cats. But now they're going to have you be able to bring one in. So it's going to be a little party of 8.
Also, riding your dog replaces your own sprint, right? So mobility goes up. So there's a whole other...
No. That's probably just gonna be the same as the tracking feature that's already in World.
But you don't think boss fights are going to be really different with the ability to jump on something?
You are not going to be riding. You're not going to be riding that thing in a fight. You're going to be riding it to the fight.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. Because you probably... So in World, you unlock that feature. Like, that is... Oh, wait. People are saying you can control it? I didn't see...
I mean, did the trailer show that off?
It did not.
Because I thought you just ride it whatever the fuck you want. And you do what you want with your crew.
You can manually control it, but it is for out of combat. Okay. You know what I bet? Because the current implementation in World is the instant you attack, your character jumps off. I imagine it will be like that.
So what is it in World right now?
World right now is you do a whistle, and then a dog-sized support animal shows up, and you get on it, and it will run towards the monster that you have tracked. Automatically. And so while you're doing that, you can eat any of your items, you can sharpen your weapon, and you can do a jump.
It's a taxi, and you can do things while you're riding the taxi.
All right, I just have a link. Thank you, Joe, who pointed out that you can, in fact, control where they go, but they are still for out of combat.
Oh.
Because the dog will fight by themselves when they're in combat. They have knives in their mouth.
Yeah, they'll fight in the battle, but you can't ride them in battle. Oh, okay. Well, that's a slight damper on my expectation. I thought it was a full-on thing. But it's still really cool that they're in battle with you. I like that. And I like that they can fight.
I hope they're able to actually do damage, because the fucking cats never did shit for damage.
I hope that, like, you can make them have different functions and, you know, kit them out individually to make them, like, serve unique purposes.
I think that's probably going to be more for the cat, because the cat is now just straight up the support one. I think that the way they say that the dogs are for fighting is that they're going to have the dogs have, like, probably different weapons. I want to put a great sword in a dog's mouth.
How many games do mounted combat, like, in depth?
In general? Well, some of those Muso games have characters on horses.
That's true. That's true. There are mounted combat characters in... Griffith has a fucking mounted combat form.
Astral Chain has that dog weapon.
Yep, you can fight mounted. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Mount and Blade
Mount and Blade. Yep, Donkey Kong Country. That's true. Yep.
Any game that you play as a centaur, unless that doesn't count. Does being a centaur count as being a mounted fighter?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because half the fun is jumping off when you want to mix it up.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, technically V is mounted.
Really?
That counts.
Yeah. I guess it does.
Mm-hmm. I think mounted combat is cool, and I don't think we see it super duper often. A lot of the recent games have been, jumping off the horse to do your attack. That's Tsushima, for example. But yeah, it would have been fun to fight mounted in Monster Hunter. It would have changed things up pretty drastically.
I would say that would probably do better as its own new weapon.
Oh,
right.
Balance it like that.
Because I'm just thinking, like, if you could
mobility,
have the dog's movement, but also use like a bow and arrow, like that would probably bust it.
Yeah, I see. That makes sense. Because like, isn't the what is it called? The thing that makes you animate through the air.
Insectglaive.
Yeah. Like, weapons that add mobility are balanced for that, right?
So that's where it actually gets weird, because the dog thing is cool, but the other thing they're adding is a wire bug, which is a jump button.
And also, isn't it a fucking zip? Like
it's also a wall run and a grappling hook.
What's Freedom Wars, right?
Yeah, that thing.
The grappling, the zip. It's not a grappling hook. It's a zip line.
Like the footage of your character, like kind of like running straight up a cliff, is the weirdest thing. Like, movement in this game is very quick, fast.
The trailer showed a lot of climbing gameplay too, like traversal,
like really fast.
So traversal is going to be a big part of this, it seems. Yeah.
I want to say that this is a test game for
some new shit.
The new shit that we'll see in World. Because, like, you see the environment, like, when they're jumping around, the environment doesn't look anything like World's environments. It doesn't look anything like the ones before, but, like, it's very hilly. There's lots of places that you would ostensibly need to climb.
Now, with the turn of the generation, and this being the same company as DMCSE, don't you think it's likely that we'd see a next-gen Monster Hunter before we saw another update to World?
Oh, when I say more stuff for World, I mean World 2 or whatever they would call it.
Yeah, okay.
Because this is getting announced like a week before. I think it's a week, but before the final update for World, and they've literally said like, "This is it, it's done." Mm-hmm. So yeah, dog, crazy environmental travel, which looks different. A jump button. I mean, new monsters is par for the course. Though that bird wyvern that is actually multiple monsters looks really cool. The one that's like one big bird wyvern and two smaller ones, and they all attack at once.
Mm-hmm.
That looks super radical.
Now, this is a Switch game. Can you go in with the same number of people?
Oh,
and your buddies as well online. Okay, all right. So
yeah. Monster Hunter games comes in parties of 4 every time.
And now 4 plus
animal of choice.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a couple other little details in this trailer that are kind of a bigger deal for like old timey people. There's moves that I don't recognize, which look like they might be like generations like style power moves where you like I don't know if you ever saw any of those, but those are ridiculous. They're like super moves that left with World.
Can't say I
There
have.
is
The craziest super I've seen was amplified elemental discharge.
yeah. There is a bug monster called Nursilla in there, which is basically a big spider. And it's one of the ones that they said they would be unlikely to get to World because it has a unique skeleton. Which if we're on to the point where we're adding monsters with unique skeletons, that means that some of the real weirdos could come back. Like I'm sure you actually saw the fucking God, what's it called? The queen insect, the queen Celtis that like latches on to the baby Celtis and becomes like a robot.
Oh yes, with the gat tie. Yes,
Yeah.
I did see that.
That's one of those ones that it's like, they were like, don't expect it. It has a totally unique skeleton that is not applicable to anything but itself. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So seeing Nursilla gives a lot of hope. And the most interesting thing about this from a dev perspective is that this is on a new engine. This is on the Resident Evil engine. Not the Monster Hunter World engine.
Mm-hmm.
Because that engine is terrible.
Is this the first use of the RE engine on Switch?
I want to say yes. Because
we haven't seen it running on Switch before, I don't think.
The version of RE7 on Switch is actually a cloud game. If you remember that. It was a Japan-only cloud game.
Weird.
So the RE engine has, I don't know how much experience you have with it outside of DMC5, but
none.
It runs
just
really
DMC5.
well.
Yeah.
It runs really, really, really well. It scales really well.
Oh, and I played the RE7 demo, but yeah.
And you played RE2. Yeah, okay. So it's a good engine. It's very solid. It's very easy to work with, and it performs well.
Mm.
The World engine sucks, dude. It's terrible. So I hope to shit that World 2 or whatever the fuck the next one, the next gen one it keeps on this engine, which I imagine it would, and runs better, because that would be nice. Are you motherfuckers really telling me that the RE engine stands for Reach for the Moon engine? Is that why it's a moon?
Hey.
That is stupid as fuck.
Yeah. Well, first of all, anything that is just the first two letters of a word that's treated as an acronym is fucking dumb, and that needs to stop.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
It's the worst. But second, I'm happy to move on from the MT Framework engine, considering the namesake never came to be.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
It was named after Mega Man Legends. We never got Mega Man Legends. Fucking move on. That sucks.
I think this game looks super good. If you want, Woolie, I would gladly hop in some matches with you if you ever plan on streaming it.
I'm definitely curious about them doggos, and I'm curious as to whether or not I will be able to online set up a I don't know, some kind of like looking for group filter by pet.
What?
Just to see who else is got a sweet pupper with them.
So you won't be able to do that because you'll be able to change your dog or cat in the match.
Oh, I suppose that's true.
So you could filter it by dogs only, but then they could just change to cats under your nose.
They could. And yeah. And they could do that on purpose too if they're like, we know you filtered it.
So You want to hear a fun fact? Monster Hunter World was originally going to use the Phanta Ray engine.
Pantaray, yeah.
Panta Ray.
Pantaray,
And then,
yeah.
and then that didn't happen because that engine was apparently a disaster. Wasn't that Ono's baby?
It was.
Yeah. Um, and then they had to jury rig some bullshit with a bunch of people who don't know how to work on next gen systems, which is why and it's probably why that World engine sucks ass, because it was put together by a bunch of people who were doing their best, but weren't engine creators. So now that they're going to be using, I hope Capcom just uses the RE engine for literally every game they use.
I imagine Street Fighter 6 will be using the RE engine. Yes.
I imagine that also.
Yes. It's a very reasonable assumption.
I say that is a reasonable assumption that Street Fighter 6 would use the RE engine.
Yep.
So Monster Hunter Rise looks super cool. I hope this jumping stuff is not a one-off mechanic. Because there have been Monster Hunter games that have had like goofy one-off mechanics that have not come back. This stuff looks really good.
Last time they gave Spencer a jump button, he never got it back.
Yeah, because he died. It is interesting because so you didn't play GU or Generations, right? You started with World.
Nope. World only.
So in Generations Ultimate, they had a system called styles, where you had like you had a style where you could just straight up jump, called aerial style. You had a style which gave you a perfect dodge that would have a counter. You had a default style which was normal, but it had lots of super moves, etc. Right? And when World came out, those styles were gone, but some of the moves from them got incorporated. Right? So it was like we had 100 moves and we pared them down to 10, but we integrated them into a generalized moveset. This is just aerial style. The Rise stuff. It is just the aerial style. Turned into like a in-depth thing and integrated the moveset. So hey, maybe we'll get perfect dodges back. That'd be they were broken. You can't bring those back. But something. Oh no, wait. The longsword. You never played longsword, huh?
I played big fucking Guts Blade.
Okay, because longsword has a couple moves that just make it you 100% invincible, and require the enemy to hit you during your invincibility to trigger like counters.
Oh well, Charge Blade has some stances that have moments like that too. Yeah. So I got a feeling for that with Charge Blade.
It's goofy, man. You ever see footage of Monster Hunter 1 or 2?
No.
It's bad. It's bad. It's like weapons have 2 moves.
If what we're watching is just a really gradual, like, passing of the old content through the world filter, that's cool. That'll keep them alive for a while. That's a lot of shit.
Well, actually, there's more new stuff in this trailer than there is old stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Almost every monster they showed was brand new. The only one that you see that I recognize being old is Arzuros the bear, but he's not even given a title card. He just fights somebody in a cutscene.
I have every time a monster shows up, I just assume this is an old legacy monster coming back. I assume it 100% of the time.
Okay, so every monster that gets a title card in that trailer is brand new.
Okay.
The presentation had one of the weirdest things I've seen in like a thing where they said, "Listen, guys, the flagship is called Megalomano or whatever, but we can't show you the whole monster just yet. It's a secret." And then like 5 minutes later, they're like, "Here's the amiibo," and it was the amiibo of the monster.
Yeah.
In its totality. and it was like,
There it is.
oh, there it is. I could see it. It's right there.
It's kind of crazy getting to recognize the Monster Hunter theme through Teppen more than anything. Like that's the place that the music.
Weird. Oh yeah, because it doesn't play that often in World.
It doesn't, but every time you fight fucking Wrath or Nurg, it plays. So that's where I'm used to hearing it. So then when I hear the real version of it, it's like, oh fuck, yeah, right, that.
Okay, hey Wolves, you were right. The dogs will have abilities because I went through the trailer, and there's a dog that has what looks like a club with blades on it in its mouth, and it slams it down into an open shielded umbrella.
Yeah, the umbrella comes out.
Yeah.
Sick. Now what's this about
Dude.
Amaterasu?
Well, I mean that'll be the first event quest probably, right? Also, there are totally new moves because there's one where somebody like swings around. What the fuck weapon is that even? Is that? There might be a new weapon in this trailer.
Hey, did you play Monster Hunter Stories?
No.
Because I was not really paying attention to it, as you'd imagine. But like at the end of the direct, they kind of played some footage and stuff, and I was like, "Oh wow, this game's very pretty."
Yeah, Monster Hunter Stories is a pretty game for sure. And Monster Hunter Stories 2. So that first game was kind of a massive failure. But now that Westerners know about Monster Hunter, maybe people will care about this one.
I care about the Palamutes.
Palamutes. Are you familiar with? So that's their like what do you call it? So it's Palamute and Palicos.
Yeah, Palico is the job and feline is the race, right?
Yeah, and the race of the dogs is canine with a Y.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Same as feline with a Y. Oh man, I hope they're.
Is it?
They showed off.
Is it Mutt? Is it Palamut?
Well, it's Mute.
Yeah, so it's mute.
But it's probably pronounced Palamut.
Now, why would they do that?
It's because Japan.
Besides, like, mutt's kind of insulting.
Yeah, dogs are nice. Mutts. I hope there are different dog types that, like, different shape of dog, because I want to ride a bulldog-looking dog.
That would be cool.
For obvious reasons.
I think so.
Just a big, tanky, wrinkly boy.
I need to be able to go out into the battlefield with Amaterasu on my left and John Tailbane on my right.
Standing straight up.
This is how it go. Nunchucks and all. Yeah. Fucking Basil Geese ain't ready for that shit. Just God paintbrush. Fuck you.
It's also coming out like really soon. Like March. Like bam.
March 26th. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
And they announced it in English, which means that's actually March 26th. I'm so glad those games are coming out at the same time now, dude. It used to be like a year off or more.
Cool.
It would feel bad.
Something new to stick on my Switch.
Or maybe your Switch HD.
Whatever the new SKU is. No, I think I'm going to probably put it on my existing Switch. Thank you.
What if the Switch HD has an Ethernet port?
Just release. No. Okay. Here's why everything can fuck off. Okay. If that is actually what happens, just release a new dock, you pieces of shit.
Yeah.
It's a piece of fucking plastic. It's super duper not that, like, it's not that fancy. Just release a piece of plastic to replace my dock.
Yeah.